Hello and welcome to the Eagles Wing podcast. I am your host, Deuce Brandt. And today, what I want to talk about is a recap of yesterday's Financial Peace University lesson number two in the debt snowball and paying off all of your consumer debt, everything except for the mortgage. And before I get into the specifics on how to get into this area of paying off debt, I want to talk about a couple other things. I want to recap last week's lesson one, which is to save $1,000 into your starter emergency fund and create your budget. Your budget is your tool to help you to achieve all your financial goals because this allows you to have a top overview of where you're spending your money, your income, your expenses, and maybe where you have holes in your budget that money is just leaking out of that you don't really see in the moment as you're spending, but these are ways that you can accomplish your goals. So, the first thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to share my screen here, I want to talk about the area of goals and why and how to set goals the smart way. Why should you set a goal? Well, the reality is, if something is important, you will make time for it, you will budget for it, you will schedule it for it, you will make sacrifices for that thing that you want. And every baby step can be broken down into goals. And here is how you set goals the smart way. And I'm happy to share any of these resources with any of my coaching clients. If you have not scheduled a time with me to sit down and for me to help coach you in how to do all these things, I highly recommend that you contact me via JasonDeuceBrandt at gmail.com. That is JasonDeuceBrandt at gmail.com. So send me an email. Let me know that you're interested in a coaching session, and I'll be happy to schedule that with you and help you get through whatever baby step you're currently at and help you make a plan for the goals to get further up in the baby steps. All right, so how to set goals the smart way. When it comes to changing your money habits and transforming your financial future, you must set goals that can be achieved. These are called SMART goals, right? How do you create SMART goals? So, what does SMART stand for? SMART, S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time sensitive. Now, these five elements are the building blocks for creating achievable goals. Let's look at them in more detail. Okay, so the S and the M. Keep these goals specific and measurable. This means for goals to work, you need to focus on exactly what you want to achieve. For example, simply saying you want to be less stressed about money won't cut it. Instead, be detailed. I would like to pay off $24,000 of debt within 1 year. That goal is specific and includes an exact measurable amount. Give yourself daily, weekly, or monthly steps that visually help you see progress towards your goal. For example, you'd have to pay $2,000 a month to reach that goal, or about $460 per week. Now, this is pretty important um, to your overall plan, your overall strategy, because you have to know where you are currently. And in the area of finances, sometimes it's important to simply, um, it is to simply write everything out and have a master list, either electronic or on paper. I'm a paper guy. I like writing things down on paper because the act of going from your eyes to your brain to your hands to the paper, you're using more of your senses therefore having a greater effect on, on that goal. And as you start to accomplish these goals, in the concept of paying off the $24,000 of debt, well, this might be multiple different debts that you have. It might be multiple credit cards. It might be a car payment. It might be personal loans. It might be, I want to pay off that Apple iPhone that I got through my telephone company. But when you list all these out from smallest to biggest, and when we get into the debt snowball, there is power in marking off each one of these as you get through them. And that can have a psychological effect in your positive just by marking them out and seeing that you're making progress. Next, make them achievable. Goals aren't achievable unless they're written down. That includes all the steps that you will take to get there. It's awesome to dream, and you should never stop thinking about what you can do. But to actually achieve these milestones, you've got to get your goals down on paper. Writing your goals helps you stay on track and reach them because it creates accountability and lets you see your progress. Okay, and then ensure the relevancy to you. One of the easiest ways to fail at goal setting is trying to accomplish someone else's goals. If your Aunt Edna wants you to be the most successful podiatrist in the tri state area, it won't happen unless that's your dream too. Why? Because we all know striving to win is not for the faint of heart. It's tough, and you won't have the courage to fight through if you aren't working towards your own goals. Likewise, just because your spouse or your dad wants you to get out of debt doesn't mean you will. You have to want it. The goal you set must be your goals, because when push comes to shove, you're the one who must fight to make them a reality. Next, set a time limit. Giving yourself a date for the goal gives you a target to aim at. Once you're at your endpoint, create a plan and break it all the way down to your daily activities. Then give yourself a deadline. For example, I would like to lose 20 pounds by December 31st. How many times you need to work out each week? What will your calorie intake be each day? While preparing your strategy, it will soon become clear whether or not your goals are reachable. This is so vital, this setting a time limit. You have to have an end point, because with an end point, you can work yourself backwards, and you can you can create those events that you want to create or that you want to achieve as you're moving through it. So, here's some important tips. Don't get discouraged if your goals aren't accomplished in the exact way you originally planned, or if you get off track. Bumps will occur and life will happen. That's okay. As long as you focus on your goal and are taking small steps towards achieving it, you are on your way to achieve a big change, because big change starts small. So this is just a quick reminder on goal setting, and it's going to give you a great start. So what are some goals? Let's create one. So let's say you have not achieved baby step number one, which is to save $1,000. What are the smart goals or what is the smart goal to be able to achieve baby step one, and to be in that place? Okay, first, what is your specific goal? Save $1,000. Measurable. What how are you going to do that? I'm going to save $100 a week. I'm going to save $100 a month. I'm going to save $25 a week, which is $100 a month. What measure how you're going to do that? Make it achievable. Look at your finances and to see, do you have extra money, or do you have the ability to accomplish that goal, to do that thing, the measurable thing that you have created? Is that achievable? Don't say, hey, I want to pay off, I want to put $1,000 in savings, save my $1,000 in one day. Now that can be done if you already have the $1,000 and it's already lying around. Great. Move it from your checking into a high yield savings account, and boom, you're done in one day. But if you're starting from zero, then you want to get to a point where you're not creating too far beyond your ability. So if you don't have $1,000 extra coming in that month, don't set the goal for 1 month. Make it achievable, relevant. If you're serious about this Financial Peace University and going through the 7 baby steps plan to become a baby steps millionaire and to have true financial peace, you have to make the goal relevant to you. So think in your mind what it would feel like, feel those emotions of what it would be like to have $1,000 in an emergency fund, and imagine the next emergency that happens, you have cash on hand and you don't have to go and borrow money from friends or family. You don't need a GoFundMe. You don't need to go to the credit cards, but you have the money. How much would that have helped in a situation where a tire goes out, your alternator in your car, you need to pay a deductible for an insurance. You have a car accident, and to get your car fixed, you need to pay $1,000 deductible for the insurance company. Well, imagine if you had this money, it wouldn't be a scramble. It would be, I think it would be a whole lot easier, and it would release a lot of stress. And then the last part is the time sensitive part. Set an end goal. Say, I'm going to do this in 1 year. I'm going to do this in 6 months. I'm going to do it in 3 months. And once you have your time sensitive, your timeline, you simply have to work yourself backwards. Now, when it comes to our finances, one of the best ways that we can achieve these goals is by using our budget. And our budget is it's the single best tool, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. Okay, so how do we budget? Well, we have what's called a quick start budget. So let's just say you have never created a written budget. If you have never created a written budget, I want to make this as easy a process on you as possible, just so you can get into the motion of doing this. And here's the thing. Your first budget, it's also the simplest. So you can relax now. We're going to make this very, very easy. All right, it's time to get your feet wet with budgeting. This form is only 1 page, but it'll show you how much money you need to save each month to cover necessities. While your mortgage or rent is listed here, we won't go into the details of your credit card bill, student loans, car payment, or any other type of debt yet. The quick start budget is just your starting point. So remember, this is if you've never done it before. We want to kind of acclimate yourself into this. It's kind of like going to the gym. When you go to the gym the first time, you don't start with 300-pound bench presses. You'll end up dropping the bar and the weight on top of yourself. You may get hurt. So you start off with something lighter and you build yourself up. Same thing with your finances and your budget. So let's get into it. Step one, you write down what you're spending in each month in each of the categories listed in A. If you don't know exactly, make your best guess. We're keeping it simple for now. So, what's your electric bill? And you could look at your last month's payment. You can go log into your account with the power company and you can see what the amount was, and then you can add it to each of these areas, your electricity, your gas, your internet, your cable, and any other utilities that you may have. This might be your cell phone. This might be, um, you may have additional things, um, some kind of subscription for your car that you have to pay every month. But these are utilities. You add them all up and then you write a total for each of the categories in the total box, which is here as B, and move on to the next category. So electricity plus gas plus internet plus cable equals total. Then step 3, you add up all 8 of your total boxes and enter that number at the bottom of the category's total box, C. This shows how much you're spending in a month on your basic necessities, not including any kind of debt. We'll get to that later. So remember, this is your different categories, and here they are. So you've got your add up your budgeted item, and then you add the total. So we got charity, food, clothing, savings, housing, transportation, utilities, and personal. So these are those 8 categories that we talked about. So you put how much you're budgeting for each item. So let's say for tithes, it's $100. Well, then my total is $100. Groceries, if I'm one person, let's just say I spend $250 a month on groceries. Then on the emergency fund, for that month, I want to budget $100. But then let's say I have to save for my um I have something that's coming up in 6 months, and I want to do a home repair, right? So if I've got, say, I want to replace a door, so I could put door here, and let's just say the new door costs $200, and I want to pay that off in in 6 months. That is $50 a month for 6 months. That's $150. Then for clothing, for it's only myself, so I'm an adult. Let's say I put $60 a month. I have no children, so I put 0. My clothing is $60. Let's say my rent is $1,000. I don't have a second mortgage. I don't have real estate taxes. Repairs and maintenance, let's just say $20. So we have something for that category. And my renter's homeowner's insurance is $25. So then we can add this up, $1,045. Next, we got our, let's say we've got a car payment of $500. There's no second car. Gas and oil, if it costs me $30 per week for gas, that's 30, 60, 90, 120. But then I also have to figure, okay, I may have to do an oil change. Let's call that $30 to get the oil and oil filter if I do it myself. Next, repairs and tires. Well, the car's running fine now. However, I may need repairs in the future. And so if I just budget something towards auto repairs and tires, eventually when it comes time to purchase this, I will have this money. And then let's say my car insurance is $200 per month. So let's add this up. 500 plus 150, that's 650, 675, 875 total. Next, we're going to go down and we're going to find all of our bills. So electricity, it's summertime in Las Vegas, so it's 150. Gas, let's make that an even 50. Water, 25. Trash, 25. Mobile phone, 100. Internet 100, cable is 0. But let's say instead of cable, maybe you have a streaming service. Maybe you have Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu or one of those other services, and that costs $10 a month. So let's add it all together. That's one, two, 300, 410. So 410, basic math. Then we look at our life insurance. Our health insurance is $200 a month. Disability insurance, we have not hit the age of 50. Or actually, so disability, let's just say it's $20. We have no children. For entertainment, let's just say we spend $100 going out a month. And let's call, maybe we've got a gym membership and we have a food box that gets delivered. The gym is, let's call it $20, and the food box is $20. So let's add all this up. 200, 300, 25, 45, 65, 85. So 385 total. Then we add all of these up. To make this simple, I'm simply going to go and open up my calculator. And pull that calculator, and it won't let me put it on the screen. Let me pull this back. So I got my calculator here. So let's add up all of our totals. We have 100 plus 250 plus 150 plus 60 plus 1045 plus 875 plus 410 plus 385, and that gives us a total of 3275, and that is our expenses for our budget. Now, this is actually that there's a problem that I'm seeing here. So if my expenses are 3275 for a month, I'm looking like my tithes, which is a tenth of your income. If I only give a tithe of $1,000 and my expenses are 3275, let's times that by 0.10. Our tithe should actually be 327 and 50 cents. So this is one of those areas you may want to check your giving and increase this, but we'll leave the numbers as they are. This is a quick and easy way to start off your budget. This, at the very least, will give you an idea of what it costs for the, upcoming month. Now, remember, this was a quick start budget. This was simply to get ourselves, going. And as you saw, I kind of did this off the top of my head. I didn't have my exact numbers. I just kind of threw in, some different things. And that's okay when you first get started. However, the next step is to create a zero-based budget. And with a zero-based budget, you'll give every incoming dollar a job to do so your money is working for you. Yes, this budget form has a lot of lines and blanks, but that's okay. We do that so that we can list practically every expense imaginable on this form to prevent you from forgetting something. Don't expect to put something on every line. Just use the ones that are relevant for your specific situation. So again, step one, we're going to start with putting your monthly take-home pay in the box. in the top right A, and this is the amount you have for the month to budget. So far, so good. So let's say that amount is $4,000. So that's our take home pay. Then, step two, within each main category, such as food, there are subcategories like groceries. Start at the top and work your way down, filling out the budgeted column B first, then adding up the subcategory and put that number in the toolbox. So, in our budget for groceries, let's say that's $250, and we spend $150 on on going out to restaurants and eating out. So that is $400. Next, enter your take home pay in the top box D at the end of the page, and then add up all the categories and place the total in category totals box E. Then subtract your category total amount from your take home pay. You should have a zero balance. Now, doesn't that feel great? So remember, we're going to come up here and we're going to take our take home pay, which is 4,000, and we are going to take our category totals, which is 400, and 4,000 minus 400 is 3,600, zero balance. So this is incorrect. Our totals from all of our categories, and again, we just did food here, but our totals should actually both be 4,000. So we end up with a zero balance. All right, so next, when the month ends, you put what you actually spent in the spent column. This will help you make necessary adjustments for the next month's budget. So if, say we come back to our budget of $250, but let's say we spent $300. Let's say we budgeted $150 for restaurants, but we actually spent $200. Well, our totals is $500, which is actually more than what we originally budgeted. Now, sometimes our numbers are not going to be correct, and the thing about a zero-based budget is you're putting all of your money together in a specific way. And so if you add to one column, you have to remove from another to make sure that it still makes zero, because you don't want to go into the negative for any month. So here's a larger page with more totals. We do that $4,000 take home pay. We've got our tithe, which for $4,000 is going to be a 400. And let's just say we do a 1% to charity and offerings. That's 440. Let's say our groceries are again 250, restaurants 150, so that is 400. Emergency fund, let's say we put $100 in emergency fund. We are not saving for retirement because we are currently in debt. So we're not going to save for retirement. We're not going to save for college fund. We don't have any children, so we don't need to save for that currently. For clothing, I think we said $50 on the last, $0 for children. So cleaning and laundry for my clothing, let's say it's fabric softener, clothes, laundry soap, laundry detergent, and let's say that is $40 for the month. And well, and let's say we go to the laundromat, and this is actually $50 a month because we got to pay for the washer and dryers. That's a total of $100. Next, let's go over here. Our rent is $1,000. 0 second mortgage, 0 real estate taxes, repairs and maintenance. Let's call that $50. Association dues are 0. So that's $1,050. Next, for our car, we have our Uh, gas and oil, let's call that $100 for the month. Repairs and tires, $25 a month. License and taxes. So you're going to have to get your car registered once a year. And let's just say that's $100. And if we take, again, you can simply go figuring out what something should be. You can go to your calculator. Now, I know $100 is easy, but if we go 12 divided by 100, that is 12. Actually, I did that backwards. So 100 divided by 12 equals $8.33. So let's call it 834, but we're just going to leave that at $8 a month budgeted. And now we have to think about how long we've had our car, and are we looking at the idea of maybe we want to save money for the next car so that we don't have a car payment. For now, we're going to leave that at 0. We're going to leave I just want to check and see if there is the car payment is down here. So we're not going to put our car payment here in transportation, but we're going to go to utilities, and we're going to say electricity is 150, gas is 50, water is 25, trash is 25. My phone is 100, internet is 100, cable is 10. Actually, let's just go 25 for easy numbers. Oh, sorry, I have to come back and do the total. 125, that is 33, 133. Next, 150 plus 50 is 200. That's 250, 350, 450, 475. Next, if we have our medical and health. So let's say we've got medications that we have to pay for every month, and one is $10. Co-pays for the doctor is $100. The dentist is 75. Optometrist is 0. Our insurance covers it. Let's say we do $15 a month on vitamins. And so let's add, and then for others, we can't think of any right now. So we've got 100, 75, 85, 95, 200. Next, insurance. So if our life insurance, let's say that was $50 a month, our health insurance was $100 a month, our homeowners renters insurance was 25, our auto insurance was 200, disability insurance 25, identity theft 25, long-term care. If you are under the age of 50, you do not need long-term care, but if you are, you would have budgeted for that. So 50 and 100 is 150, 175 to 375, 425. Next, recreation. So entertainment. So maybe you like to go out and you like to spend $100 a month, just that's going to see a movie, drinking a popcorn, once a month. Now, if you have more, you would add more to your budget, but we're just trying to get our initial numbers. And let's say that you have a desire to go on a vacation at least once a year. And again, we can bring up our calculator. And here's the cool thing about this. You can create a dream to do something, to go somewhere, to have some kind of experience. And you could price out what that looks like. Just a quick story. 2024, I took my family on a big vacation to Legoland in Florida, and the trip, I initially did the numbers and found out it was going to cost about $5,000 was my initial idea of what it was going to cost with the hotel, airfare, food, and everything included. Um, and when I first started planning, basically a year before, I had my number. And at that time, I didn't have the $5,000. I was still in debt. I was still, I still had my car note. And I was thinking, how am I going to do this? But I basically created a plan. I figured out what I needed for the vacation. And then if you take your total amount and you divide that by the total number of months you have before you want to go on the vacation, you can figure out how much you need to save. So let's say I want to save for a $2,000 vacation 1 year from now, which is 12 months. You need $167. So for vacation, 167. So we've got 267 in our total here. Now our debts, let's say our car payment was $500. There is no second car, but then we've got Visa, and the minimum payment on that is $20. Then we have a MasterCard, and the minimum payment on that is $25. Then we have, we got the Sam's Club card, and the Sam's Club is $50 because you can never get out of Sam's Club with less than 100. And then let's say you've got you got the JC Penny consumer card, and that's $10 minimum payment. Now, these numbers are not your total amount. This isn't your total debt, but this would be your minimum payment for each one. Let's say you also have student loans, and that's $200 for your private loan. Then you have a federal loan, and that's 150. Let's say you did a consolidation, and and then you got more loans. A lot of people have multiple loans, and then let's say mom loaned you $1,000, and you're paying off mom $100 every month, so on and so forth. So you put all your minimums here, your personal loans, everything in your debt column. So 500, 50, 75, 85, 95. That's the 605. Sorry, let me do this again. So let me make this easier math. Let's call that 25, 25, 50, 25. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 75. Um, I'm going to go back to the calculator because apparently my math is terrible today. So let me try this again. 500 plus 25 plus 25 plus 50 plus 25 plus 200 plus 150 plus 100 plus 100. And apparently I did that wrong. Let me go back and try this again. 1175. Okay, so 1175. Next, we've got our personal. So these are things that, that we need, that you got to think about. We have to brush our teeth. We need to go to um we need to go to the store and buy things. But for childcare, I have 0 children. Toiletries, $20. Cosmetics and hair care, $20. Education, tuition, 0. Books and supplies, 0. Child support, 0. I've got no alimony. Subscriptions, $50. Maybe I have a lot of subscriptions that, these things that we can easily pay for, apps on our phone, different things. Organization dues, 0. Gifts, including Christmas. Here's one of the areas that people fail to budget for. Christmas comes every year in December, and in December, children, family, and friends are expecting gifts, and we're going to be exchanging gifts. So throughout the year, it's a good idea to put some money towards Christmas. So let's again say we want to budget $1,000 for our Christmas fund, and we're going to save up over the point of a year. That's $84 a month. 84. Replace furniture. Um, let's just say we put 25 pocket money. This is simply just money while you're out. Maybe you want to buy something. It's a vending machine. It's something small. Let's just say $100. Single guy, baby supplies 0, pet supplies, no pets, music and technology. Well, I've got Spotify Premium or YouTube Premium, and that's $10 a month. And miscellaneous, who knows? Let's just add something. We have room for other categories, but let's add this all up. Go right back to our calculator and 20, 20, 50, 84, 25, 100, 10, 25, and that equals 334. Next, we're going to take all of our categories, starting with our take-home pay of $4,000. We're going to add up all of these different categories together. So let's go, emergency fund 100. Make sure I put the totals in all these. So let's add up all of our totals. 440 plus 400 plus 100 plus 100 plus 1050 plus 133 plus 475 plus 200 plus 425 plus 267 plus 1075 plus 334 equals 5,099. Oh no, this left us negative $1,099. This was way over the zero-based budget. So now what we have to do is we have to readjust things to get this amount to zero. So we need to cut out either $1,099 from our expenses, or we have to increase our income by $1,099 for that month. So let's take a look. Let's come back up to the top. We don't want to take from our tithing, our charity. We want to leave this. We want to pay this first. This is super important. But maybe instead of going out to the restaurants, what if we dropped this to 50 and we dropped that to 300 for clothing? We say, what, this month I'm going to reduce my clothing down to 0. I'm still going to save to my emergency fund $100 because I want to get that down, get that $1,000 saved as quickly as possible. Our rent, well, you can't change your rent. It is possible. Maybe, get a roommate. Maybe your lease is ending and you can move into a less expensive place. That's possible to change this. But let's just say we are renting. There are no repairs and maintenance, so let's take that other $50 off there. Gas and oil, well, you got to drive your car, you got to get to work. So we're going to leave that at 100. Repairs and tires, we're going to cut that back to 20. So we're going to change this to 128. It's just a slight change there. Now, our utilities. Well, couple things that you can do is maybe you can contact your electric company and get on a flat rate payment plan or an equal payment plan. And let's say the equal payment plan is less every month because it averages out over the 12 months of the year. And let's say instead of $150 because it's summertime, yeah, summertime you're going to use a lot more power, but in winter and spring and fall, you're going to use less electricity overall. So let's say we can bring this down to $75 per month on the income and the equal payment plan. Gas, can't really change that. Water, trash, can't change that. Your mobile phone. What if you did some shopping on your mobile phone and you found another mobile phone company that can provide the same exact service, the same exact phone, the same number, same everything, but you can save $25 a month? Or let's just be wild and say, what if we found one that could half our bill to $50 a month? Next, call the cable company. Call your internet and your cable company. One, eliminate your cable bill. Because remember, in another area, we had streaming services. So don't pay for multiple things if you can. And then if you call the cable company, when you go to cancel your cable, if you go to your internet company and you say, "Hey, this is way too much. Can you do anything for me?" I'd hate to go to insert competitor's name and they say, "Oh, well, we've got a special. We've got internet that is the same thing for you, but it's only $70." So now let's come in and let's check these numbers again. 75 plus 50 plus 25 plus 25 plus 50 plus 70 equals 295. So much better on that. So we've reduced our utilities. Next, our medications. Don't choose not to buy your medications or go to the doctor. Continue to do these things, but maybe as far as vitamins, maybe shop online. Let's just try to reduce that to $10 instead of 15. It's not much of a change, but 195 is a little better. Next, for our insurances, generally these will come out of our paycheck every month through our job. We have, these things that cannot change. Possibly when your car insurance is set to renew, maybe this number can change, or you could shop around, go to a car insurance broker and see if they can get you a better premium. But for the most part, these totals for your insurance is generally going to stay about the same. Entertainment. Well, our entertainment budget for the month and our vacation number, let's just say instead of 167, we've reduced our vacation savings to 100, and that brings our total down to 200. In our debt column, your car payment is probably going to be about the same. You're generally going to have the same. Your minimums on all your credit cards are generally going to be about the same. Your student loan payment, and you may go to mom and say, "Mom, I really can't afford that 100. Can we do 50?" And so we've reduced this slightly. Maybe your mom is open to helping you. Next, let's say your cosmetic and hair care. Let's reduce that by 10. Let's figure out how we can do a little bit less, maybe on our toiletries. Maybe it's, shop online. Maybe it's finding coupons or another store. Maybe it's changing brands. Next, subscriptions. This is a big one. I think that everybody in our modern age, I think we have too many subscriptions, and a lot of us have multiple entertainment subscriptions. And so maybe cut this back because you're trying to create margin. Let's say instead of having five of these at $10, what if we went down to one just for now, just so we can save money for our Christmas savings? Instead of 84, you know what? We're gonna save less furniture repair, furniture replacement. You know what? I'm gonna cut back on that as well. And pocket money, I'm gonna cut back there. Music technology, you know what? We're going to go back down to zero. I don't need Spotify. I can listen to an ad. And then our miscellaneous. So let's add all these up. And again, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 50 plus 20 plus 70 plus 25 is 195, which is slightly better. We changed as much as we could there. Now, let's see, with our modifications to our budget, plus 425, 1025, and 195. So, okay, so that brought us down to a new total of 4303. Make sure I did that, 4303. So now we're only negative $303. Okay, so we can go through the budget again and we can try to reduce another $303, but that might not be possible. We may have already cut out as much as we can, and without starving ourselves or putting ourselves in a negative situation as far as like food or transportation. What if what if you simply increased your income slightly for the month, and let's just call this $400 a month you're able to bring in through some kind of side hustle, driving for Uber, um, coaching, doing homework tutoring, music lessons, sell something. But $400 a month, that's increasing your income, or it might be working a little overtime at your company. That $400 a month could be an extra $100 a week, and it may be a sacrifice that you have to do to earn additional income. But if we were to increase our income by an extra $100 a month, that would leave us with $97 positive for the month. Now, what we could do is we could add $97 to the miscellaneous. So 97 plus 25 equals 122. And then 195 plus 97 equals 292. So 292. That would increase this to 4,400, making our balance 0. So now we have figured out how to go through our debts, or how to go through our budget, how to equal a zero-based budget, how to, modify the numbers, how to add everything. And your goal is, by the time you get to the bottom of here, that you have a zero balance. Now, here's the thing. If you've got money left over, this is called margin. If you've got money left over, you can go and you can then adjust your other areas. Now, the goal should be to always increase your income, if at all possible, to bring in additional income, to figure out ways to cut your expenses if possible. And sometimes the brands and the things that you're choosing to buy, you can buy from another location, another store or online, and get them for less. And there's other services like, Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime membership will get you a video service as well as free shipping on a lot of things. So that might save you money. Always find ways to include and incorporate things together for maximum benefit. But ultimately, your goal is to get to the zero-based budget. Now, within here, we have our emergency fund. We have our money. We have our money budgeted for it. In 10 months, we will have the $1,000 for our emergency fund saved. And all we had to do was figure out what we're going to spend our money on and work our numbers. So next, we have created our budget. We have saved $1,000. We have completed baby step number 1. At this point, I congratulate you. I celebrate with you. Whatever it is that you like to do, maybe take a month and take that money that you would have put into your emergency fund and go have some fun. Go take that $100 in the next month and do something to celebrate your win. Always celebrate your wins and experience something that, maybe you were lacking in the clothing category, and you're like, man, I really like, I want to go buy that, that nice jacket, or I want to get this, this game for the PlayStation, or there's something that you've wanted to do, and that $100 can do it. Do it. Spend on yourself and celebrate and really appreciate and be joyful that you've done that thing, because the next step we're getting into is baby step number 2, which is to eliminate all of our debts using the debt snowball. And I will quickly go over this as a recap of last week. So with a debt snowball, you get the ball rolling and start attacking your debt. You've got your emergency fund taken care of. Now it's time to dump the debt. The debt snowball will help you get some quick wins and develop some serious momentum. You'll make minimum payments on all your debts except for the smallest one. Then attack that one with gazelle intensity. Throw every dollar you can, dollar at it that you can. Step 1, list your debts in order from the smallest total payoff balance to the largest. Don't be concerned with interest rates unless 2 debts have similar payoff balance. In that case, list the one with the highest interest rate first. So we got our debts, diagnostics, $50, hospital bill, $460, Home Depot, credit card, $770. Step 2, attack the smallest debt by paying as much as you can, as you possibly can. Once you pay one debt off, take what you were paying on that debt and add it to the minimum payment of the next debt. The snowball rolls over, it picks up more snow, Do you get it? So if our minimum payment was $10 for this, $38 for this, and $45 for this, every month we're going to pay our minimum payment, but then any extra money left over, in our previous budget, we had that $97 left over. Well, if you have that, you can roll that over into the into the payment. That's your margin. So instead of paying $10 on this payment, you would make it 100 and that'd be $107 because we had $97 plus 10 is 107. How quickly at 107 would you pay this off? Well, it would be paid off in less than a month. So we do the simple math. We do 107 minus 50, and that leaves $57. So then we take our 57 and we add that to our 38, and that equals $95. So now we have, for that first month, we have $95 going to the second one, decreasing the hospital bill minus 460 equals $365. So the hospital bill has gotten smaller. The diagnostic gets crossed out. We're working on the hospital bill, but also our Home Depot, we're paying our minimums. So now we have 38 plus 10 is 48. So we've got three. So this is where doing this all on paper makes it a whole lot easier. I'm just going to do some quick math here so I don't forget. 365 on that debt. We have 10 plus 97 plus 38 equals 145. If we take our 145 and we go 365 minus 145, that decreases our debt to 220. We subtract another 145 again, and that brings it down to 275. You minus 145 again, and that gives us 70. And then we can take that 145 minus 70 towards the Home Depot, which every month this is going to go down slightly. But then we add our 70 towards this, and that brings that down to 70, or excuse me, 700 for the Home Depot in this math. I know it would be less because we've been making minimum payments month to month, but just for simple math, we have our 145 plus 45, which was this minimum payment, equals $190. $190 rolled over 700 divided by 195. So that's going to take about 3.5 months. So our numbers are about 7 months in this case to become completely debt free. And it's probably more like 6 months because the math every month, everything is getting smaller because you're making the minimum payments. But you're adding to the snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So if by the end of this example, we have our $10 plus $38 plus $45 plus, remember, we found $97 in our budget that is available. That $190 can now go into the next thing and the next thing, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then imagine by the time, every time you pay off a debt, you cross the debt off, this will show how close you're coming to debt free. And psychologically, you should be able to be excited, like, man, I paid that off. I paid that off. No more Visa card, no more Home Depot card, no more hospital bill. I don't have to worry about answering the phone. People will stop calling because I've paid them off. that is an incredible way to do this. Now, how do we create our debt snowball? It's easy. We have this page of the debt snowball. List your debts from smallest to largest in balance, and then we'll just do this. We'll do personal loan, mom, total payoff. She gave me $1,000, loaned me $1,000. She wants $100 a month, the minimum payment. So then, or actually, let's make these numbers smaller so we can. And then we've got Visa, and the Visa total payoff is 200, and they want $25 a month. Then we have car loan and $6,000 on the car loan, and the car payment was $500 a month minimum payment. Then we have student loans, and that's $100,000. And they want 700. They want let's change these numbers to just make it easy. They want $100 a month. Then basically what you can do is you can take your numbers, you've got your minimum payments. So with all of these, your minimum payment every month is 150, 75, 185, right? So for this case, we have all of these columns added up. That's the minimum amount you're paying towards your debts. You have to pay. This is just reality. So, but we take our 185, but then if we add our if we have any extra money that we can add, the $97 that we can squeeze out plus 10, well, that's 107, but our total payoff is 100. So if we put 100 here, we can then we can cross mom off, and this can be paid. Boom. And then this becomes 0. Minimum payment is 0. So now we have 7 plus all of these. So instead of 185, this becomes 175 plus 107 because the snowball got bigger, equaling to 85, 86, 87. So that's 287. So we were able to pay 200 on that. 87 rolled over. Then we can take this amount, add it, and so now it's not 121. So this is 37. So 5 and 5 is 10. 132. And it just basically, your snowball gets bigger and bigger. These amounts become smaller and smaller, and eventually you become completely debt free. So the key is for this part is to list all of your loans. Now, you might say, well, Deuce, I don't know what all my loans are. Well, that's simple. If you go to Google and you do free credit report, you can see there are a few credit card suppositories out there that hold your credit. There's Experian, there's Equifax, and there's I believe it's Trans USA, is the third one. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I'm sorry, TransUnion. And you can go to them directly. But there is also this website here, annualcreditreport.com. And so, annualcreditreport.com, it allows you to come in and do a free credit report. You simply click the button, you fill out the form, you pick the reports you want, and you get your reports online. And then you repeat this step for each credit report. Now, remember, your free credit report does not include your credit scores, your FICO score. This is not important. Your credit score, as Dave talks about, is an I love debt score. And the only way to increase your credit score is to play kissy face with the banks. And so I want to recommend that you don't focus on your credit score, but on what your actual report says. So what we have to do is we have to click the request your credit report button. You're going to put in all of your personal information here and your current address. If you have lived there for 2 or more years, hit next. And then it's going to, it's going to ask you a couple questions to verify your identity. Once you verify your identity, step 3, they show you the report, and then the report is all of your debts that are reported to the credit agency for that report. Now, each one can be different, and different people can report to different credit bureaus. Your goal is to run your credit report every 3 to 4 months because you get one free credit report each year through each of the three credit reporting bureaus. So Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Now know that once you do this, they're going to give you some kind of an offer, hey, get your credit score. It's only, $6. But remember, we're trying to get out of debt. We're not trying to add any more services or take any more money out of our budget. So I would highly recommend that you say no to any additional purchases. They may try to give you some identity theft service. Um, they may try to sell you additional things, and you have to stay strong and just pass on any offer until you get to a point where you're debt free. Then you can do any of the things that you want. You can add to your budget because you're not paying stupid amounts of interest on your things. So annualcreditreport.com, this is where you're going to get your free credit report. There is, if you're worried about, if maybe you have questions, is my information safe? What's going to happen? How do I report and contest things? There's a lot of information here. You can also contact them directly if you have questions. If you find things on your credit report that are not you, that were never you, maybe you have been a victim of identity theft, and there is a process for getting rid of those things. So just make sure that you um, just make sure that you report it and you go through the steps and process to be able to um, get it off of your credit report and no longer have that debt. From your credit report, you can list all of your amounts. You can list who your payment is to, their contact information, how much the amount is, so on and so forth. But that is how you would put your debt snowball together. So that is a recap of the second week of Financial Peace University, lesson 2 on creating your debt snowball. Step one, saving your $1,000 in an emergency fund, in a starter emergency fund. I want to continue to encourage you. Keep going. And remember, when you put together your budget, no budget is going to be perfect at first. And it's going to take about 90 days for you to be more skillful with it. You have to simply keep doing it. And eventually it'll become common and it'll become easy. And use every dollar, the free app, to plug all these numbers in once you have them, and it will do the math for you. It is a wonderful, wonderful tool. So, with that, that's going to end this recording for the Eagles Wing podcast. Thank you so much for attending, for taking your personal finance in a serious way. Remember, you can email me at JasonDeuceBrandt@gmail.com to schedule a coaching call. We'll get a Zoom just like this. We'll talk about all your situation. We'll talk about all your numbers. We'll talk about your goals. We'll help create a plan. We'll put the plan in motion, and I'll help you, hold you accountable, and encourage you through the process so you can have your goals. So, with that, I want to thank you and I want to say good luck. I believe in you and you can do it. Have a great day. Goodbye.